Morning, everyone. So, how many of you are first timers here? Okay. How many of you have attended this session before? Okay. We have repeated people here. So, anyone who has written previously 2 attempts, 3 attempts? Okay. So, you're still not being able to know like what is the mistake or what mistake have you done. So, for those who have started preparing, a general question. So, how have you started your preparation? Which subject or what books you have referred? Some random answers, anyone? And yes? All the NCRTs. Okay. Okay. So NCRT is the best way to start. Okay. So we'll talk about it. I just want to know like where you all stand and how is your preparation going on. Are you all comfortable with the subjects, whatever you're learning so far? History, geography, after your 10th standard you're sitting history, geography, economics, science and tech. No. Okay. Let's see how we can make you comfortable, if not master in the subject. Okay. Chalo. See, today's discussion will tell you about various things that you can do during the process of preparation, your study plan, why taking any mock test, like why tests are important with respect to prelims, and strategy, time management, and how you should approach any MCQs. Like you will see hundreds of questions before you, you will buy practice books for MCQs, you will read, you will randomly mark, and then you will see your answer is wrong. I know this question, I have read it, but where did I miss it? So there's a way to approach MCQs, we will see that also. Okay, let's start with CSAT. So CSAT being gone, how many of you think that you are in safer side? Like CSAT will not impact my preparation. Now I don't have to worry. For the past 2-3 years there was CSAT. People who are very good at mathematics have always had their step ahead of me than I'm good at GS, but I am not very good at CSAT. So that's why I failed. This time I'll not have that problem. How many of you have? Okay, so I would tell you, did you go through 2015 question paper for CSAT? So how did you feel, the question paper? The previous year papers, comparing 2015 to the years before that? It is actually, they have just given a very flowery language, 33% is just a clearing mark. But, okay, so it is just make you feel comfortable. As such, there are not much changes you should keep in your preparation. The level of preparation with respect to CSAT should be as it was earlier. And this session will not discuss about how you should prepare for CSAT. It will clearly and very specifically discuss only about paper 1. Okay. So this graph, which we have students who are associated with this, aspirants who are associated with this, we sent them a survey, a long survey based on the results. If you see which subject they consider as the weakest subject, which one? And then next to it, anyone, can you say why? Okay, yeah, there are no specific material. If I say polity, which book will you say? Lakshmikant. If I say history, if I say environment and ecology, no books. I'm talking about standard books. So we don't have any concised material for the subjects, art and culture or ecology and environment. And this topic is something, a very new subject, which is added to the traditional paper which was there for the past 15 years or 20 years. Okay, and then this has created a pseudo fear among all of us. Like, will I be able to cover what I have to study? There is no one material. If my friend is buying Introduction to Fine Arts, I'll buy that. If he's reading CCRT website, I'll read everything. I get 10 material for one subject, but I'll not even read one material at the end. At the end, I'll go look for some institute study material. At least let me finish this. So this is where we go and end up at the end, because of we don't have one concise material. So you don't have to fear about that. I'll tell you later why. Strong areas. If you see people who have considered economy, modern Indian history as strong areas. See, leave the art and culture point, people who have said it is their strong areas at the third part, it is a mixed response. We'll see the 1 and 2. Why economy is considered as strongest area for most of the people? It's very conceptual. It is like, how many of you know chemistry, like who have studied chemistry in their school? There's a concept called stoichiometry equation, balancing the equation. You have something, you have a ready-made answer. You just have to balance it. Economics is something like that. If you know to balance the equation, you have answers just right in front of your eyes. Economics is such an easy subject. For people who get scared about various abbreviations like SLR, CRR, repo rate, reverse repo rate, don't fear. Just it's very few simple English words which are collectively made as a sentence. Think like that and read economics. Economics is the easiest subject that you will find. Okay? And modern Indian history. Why it's been very easy. It's like a film, movie. How many of you have watched any historical movies? Which one? No, I'm talking about Indian history.
Oh, then one for one.
Okay, Okay, Gandhi, yes. Bhagat Singh, yeah. Some few parts of Rang De Basanti also would give you a history touch. Okay, so movies like this you can watch. If you have aversion towards the subject, try to watch movies first and then start reading the subject. Okay. So, if you actually see, in the strong area, we know why these subjects are strong areas. There are two subjects which are still considered as weak areas, that is geography and polity. If you see in the weakest areas before, still there is polity, and here also, polity is not being a so strong area and not so weak area for many people. Why? They have one concise material where they'll find answer for almost any question asked in the paper, but still polity is being weak. Why? Why? It's not wide, it is, polity plays with words. You forget, you fail to read through the lines. It just talks about some 7-8 people or 7-8 parts, the whole book, but it plays with words. Everybody has role everywhere. President has his own role, he has role with respect to executive, he has role with respect to state, and governor has. So everywhere, everyone, they have a role to play. You just have to make a proper link and understand where all they have a role, who all takes care of what. So basically polity plays with word, and when you see the question paper and when you see the question in the question paper, you have read that. You have marked that this is the right answer. But when you go and check, oh my God, you just missed by one word because you failed to read through the words, lines. So this is what? Analytically very denser questions are asked in geography or polity. The concepts are very basic. When you read, you will understand everything. But when you try to solve the paper, unless and until you solve more questions, unless and until you read through the lines, how they are asking question, it will be very difficult for you to solve the paper. Otherwise, these two are the easiest subject again to study. Geography, it is like, look at the picture and tell the story. If a picture is put before you, and if I ask you to tell the story, you will be able to tell. You don't need anything. Geography is like that. They give you a picture before you for any process, you give an atlas before you, and if I ask you to tell the story, let's say for example, let's take an atlas and then I tell, which one? Okay, minerals ka ek map, I put it, I display, and I ask you to describe in detail about various minerals that are present in India. It will be very easy for you to tell which mineral is present widely and which state it is concentrated, and which is the lowest amount of mineral present, and in which state it is concentrated. So it will be easy for you to tell. Geography is like reading by a picture, so you don't have to worry about geography. But just that when you see the paper, you should know to link what you have read and then what question has been asked. It links 2-3 maps and then 1 questions are asked, which will be again discussed much in detail later. I'm just giving you a very brush up, an introduction part, why prelims preparation or how it should go, what points you have missed, what can you do. See, I think all of you have this 2015 ka paper analysis in your hand. Take page number 39, it will be there. So in 2015, this is how the questions are asked. So in each subject, see how many questions are asked. Current affairs being 23 questions. So current affairs are very important. You have to read newspaper. But current affairs in itself doesn't become one subject. There might be economics oriented, polity oriented, culture oriented, all this will be there. So always keep reading regularly and make a note. Try to find the fundamentals. If you actually see in the page 43, they have given this, in this where I have given is FA, CAA and CA. What is that? So what questions that are asked only from fundamentals, which you can study from the basic reference. Fundamental applied and current affairs applied. How they have asked, like which has a current affairs question. Okay, there will be a current affairs, a news. From there, they would have picked up a question and they will ask the basic of that question. There will be a talk about RBI raise, what are the steps taken by RBI related to monetary policy or something. But they'll increasing or decreasing CRR, repo rate, reverse repo rate and all that. But what is repo rate? That would be the question. So it can be directly, you can relate it to fundamental also, or they have asked this question specifically because since it's being in news. It's like, so this map is nothing but it shows you a difficulty level of questions asked and section wise separation, like where they have asked more questions, where the highest priority is there, just to show you that. See, and how many of you have bought previous year question paper or have the book of previous year question paper with you? Okay, rest of you, when you leave the class, you're going to buy the book. Previous year question papers are very important with respect to prelims preparation. See, how would you know, how would you be able to make a smart prediction that this is the kind of question UPSC will ask? Unless and until you see their past questions, you will not know. Why they specifically ask a topic again and again, a question from a topic again and again. You will not know this unless and until you see the past year question paper. People who have gone through the previous year question paper, can you smart predict which topics has been repeatedly asked? It's a very broad topic, parliament, in any subject. Fundamental rights. Fundamental rights, fundamental duties from polity is a question where somehow there's always a repetition. Monetary policy related to that. And in history, if you see, there is always a question about Gandhi. There's a question always about Buddhism and Jainism. You know? So you have to smart predict it. So unless and until you see the questions in the previous paper and the language they have used and how the questions are asked and twisted, you will not be, I mean, it's not that you will not be able to answer at all. It will increase the chances of increasing your marks. It always helps. People, minimum, ideally 10 to 15 years question paper for prelims is recommended. Go through. When you study a topic, take previous year question paper, go through how questions are asked, try to answer, and if it's wrong, always find out why you have answered it wrong. Analysis of why you made it wrong is very important. And before answering, ask yourself whether you are answering by luck or answering by really you know the answer. Because randomly we'll sit and previous year question paper, okay, this is the question, this is the answer, check the answer, oh, it's right, now I'm passing to next question. That should not be the case. When you answer it, make sure you really know the answer. Or you are eliminating the option. How you are answering that question, that is also important. Before seeing the four options, if you are able to answer the question, then you know the answer for sure. If you are looking at the option and then trying to eliminate an option, then you are still not sure about that specific topic. You are still not confident in that topic. You have not prepared that topic enough. There is some doubts within you. So immediately open the book and clarify it. So if you actually see in the previous year papers, from the previous year papers now, there is a shift. There is no awards. There is no personalities asked. Okay, but there is a shift. There's been concept, there's been analytical questions. 2-3 topics are combined together and one question is asked. So you have to concentrate on that. And when you read the question, you will know the language used by UPSC. What are the so you will get used to the language used by UPSC. So when you go sit on the examination hall, the questions when you read, it will not be completely new to you. And many times we make this mistake of not noticing incorrect, correct, which of the above statements are right, wrong and all that. So as you keep doing and as you keep making mistakes once or twice, you will be very conscious in the examination. So the changing pattern, as I said, smart prediction will be there. So study plan. So is there any study plan that one of you can suggest that if I follow this, I'll clear the examination? So there is no one study plan and there is no one strategy. So all of you, you have your own level of grasping things, right? So you have to go accordingly. These 4 subjects, geography, history, polity and economics, at least 50% of the questions are asked from these topics in 100 marks. Leaving aside the science and tech, leaving aside art and culture, IR and all that, minimum 50 number out of 100 questions, 50 questions are from these 4 subjects. The breakage in one subject it is 8, in the other subject it is 17 or 18, in the other it is 20. But combined, in combination, these 4 subjects you have to make it as strong as possible. And anything related to these 4 subjects in current affairs, you have to be able to grasp and you should be able to predict. You should ask, when you read news in the newspaper, you should be able to predict what questions can be asked from this question in prelims. What are the key words are here? How would I know? What will I notice? Notice those questions and try to go for the background reading. Alright? You're all just listening, there's no questions from your side. Is it boring? So, resources. Tell me about resources. Is there no confusion about resources? I know what to read exactly. I don't have, if you say I don't have confusion about resources, I want to skip the slides. How many of you have confusion about resources? What resources to study? Okay. So there is this another book where we have given about the test sources, I think. For each part of test, there will be basic resources to refer. And we recommend you read these books. And above that, if you still have time, you can always read other books. But directly don't go for the reference material. There are 3 columns if you actually see. The first one will be the basic primary essential resources. Secondary will be the additional resources. First finish the primary and then go to the secondary, and in spite of finishing these 2, if you have time, go for other material. Don't try to buy too many books. Now you're going to buy this 10-year previous year question paper book. At that time you find who's sitting in this class, somebody is buying another book. Arey, he is buying that book, he is going to study, I'll also buy the same book and take it home and finish it before him or her. You will never be opening that book. Unless and until you decide you want to study a subject, you want to finish that book, if you have planned, don't buy a book. How many Yojanas you have bought so far? And how many Yojanas has been completed and thrown away? Not even opened, dusts. I think this has most number of yes. I'll open it for mains, I won't do it now. It won't come. Who knows, that there might be a question that you have read, a topic that you have read in this book will help you gain 1 mark later. So if you're buying any standard books, read it then and there. It's just a 10 rupees book. One day it will take. Read, finish, throw it off. Throw it off as in don't throw it, keep it. Revise it. Take notes and revise it. Sources. Okay, polity. Lakshmikant. Geography. NCRTs are there from 6th standard. Okay, but no, ideally you should start reading from 6th. If you have no basics of geography, start reading from 6th standard, understand how, see, for people who don't like geography or who like, I don't know how, whenever I try, I am not being able to understand geography, I am not getting hold of geography. Who is that? It's okay, you can say I was also like that. Okay. See, I had the same problem. What I was suggested was somebody, they told me to start with Atlas and Land and the People book. Okay, you have the Atlas next to you, keep Land and the People. Atlas is a picture, Land and the People is the theory. As you see the picture, you will have a theory for it. You will be able to relate. If you don't know where the countries are located, how the continents are located, which is a landlocked country, which country has water bodies around it, you will not understand temperature, you will not understand pressure, you will not understand climate. You will take Gocheng Leong, there is part B which explains about 17 climatic regions of the world. I have no idea what are they explaining. The very basics is Land and the People. Start from there who have aversion towards geography. Trust me, it is so fun. Know where your country is located, how many countries is surrounded, and which is a landlocked country, and where does equator passes, which countries does equator pass, where do Tropic of Cancer, because all this play a major role in understanding the concept. This is a very easy thing. The first book, Land and the People, 6th standard book, is very good book, and Atlas, any Atlas that anything you can refer online also or get a Atlas also. But start with Land and the People. Know where your country's contents, how it is located. I had one of my friend who had confusion between Africa and Australia. Okay, so don't have, if people have that confusion, please, yes.
How far old NCERTs of geography are used?
See, old NCERTs geography are very useful. I have not gone through the new NCERTs. During my days of preparation, old NCERTs has been helpful. The book that I said, Land and the People, is the old NCERT book. 6, 7, 8. You can download it from internet or you will get it in the photocopying shop. Start from that book. Okay. So don't think of reading too many books. Try to keep as minimal as books as possible. I used to have a lot of my friends, especially who have cleared. Maybe that is why they made a difference. I used to have racks and stacks of books around me. They used to, when they cleared and then when they left from here, in just one box, maximum in 2 boxes, they kept all their books and then they left. So that is the minimal number of books they had, and then they revised again and again the same books. See if you can fit in the books inside that. Maybe they could have referred more of internet also, that's why there was less books. But let's say keep minimal books and revise as much as possible. If you have not planned all these, it's just a way. See, what I am telling is a very common strategy. Anybody can follow and it can work out for anyone, and it will not work out for many people. So based on what you learn here and what you listen here, you devise your own strategy. Our strategy are like our thumbprints. It is as unique as it is. You can never compare the way you prepare. Even she might be your closest friend. You share anything, but this will never work out. Okay? Have your own ideal preparation. Don't compare your preparation with your friend. You can see how he is prepared, how he has understood things, but the level of preparation or the kind of preparation you are going to do, it can never match your friend, so your friend can never match yours. You all have your own, okay? So skipping of topics. So have you all skipped topics while you study? So most of them are first timers, right? So when you read, there will be always a possibility that you skip topics. Why should I read it? Like for example, medieval Indian history. Okay, this is one full subject. I have a one full old NCR to read. But if I go through the previous year question paper from 1995, from 3 questions to question 0. And for the past 10 years, 1 or 2 or 0 is the maximum. For that, I'll skip that entire subject and I'll concentrate somewhere else where I'll get 4 or 5 questions at least minimal. So this is smart skipping of topics. You cannot just randomly skip Parliament. I'm not understanding at all. It's very big in Lakshmikant. It covers around 100 pages, 70, 80 pages. Instead, I'll read something else. So that is a very bad option. If you're skipping, ask yourself why you're skipping. If you don't understand, make sure you learn it with help of someone. Take the help of YouTube, take the help of your friend or internet, Google, somewhere. But at least give responsibility to your friend that you have to make sure that I learn this topic. put a pressure on your friend or anyone, but you have to learn. There are certain things that you cannot skip. So avoid skipping topics just because you don't like the taste of it. It's like your parents ask you to eat Karela when you are young. You say, no, no, I don't want, it's not taste, it's bitter. It's bitter, but you have to eat it. It's like that. So regarding sources, like I said, there will be a lot of confusion. Which book to study, which book not to study. Always go for like, just sometimes there had been, this is, since they were, most of them are second timers or third timers who wrote the examination, they didn't have much problems in the sources, which source they have to prepare. In the beginning it will always be there, but if you avoid that confusion right in the beginning, you will not have problem. But till exam, 1 month, till during even 1 month, in that gap 30 days, you will find one small refresher. That book also I'll buy and I'll keep and I'll read. Avoid that, it's okay. Read only what you have studied. You should stop your any new readings before 30 days of the examination. Last 1 month should be just revise, re-revise. Okay? Don't go for too much material. Ask yourself, do you really need this material? Do you really have to study? If you find any specific topic is good in one material, read that topic alone. Don't try to read the entire topic, because sometimes not all topics are good in one resource. But if you have decided that this specific topic is good in other resources, don't try to read the same topic in this book. It is duplication of work, unnecessary wastage of time. Later, if you still have time, you think, no, I have to read, this is not sufficient, do it at that time. But primarily, all the primary resources, you should be able to answer any question ideally. It should be like quiz, like without giving options, you should be able to answer. You know, like how it happens in quiz contest, we said, they don't give us option in quiz contest, right? Basically, you should know exactly what is done. So, prepare yourself for a quiz contest. There's no MCQ. MCQ is later. Prepare yourself for quiz contest, then later MCQ solving should be easy. So sources type is, that's what most of the questions, if you actually see, essential are asked from the essential material. And then, but when we saw in the previous graph where the current affairs questions are more, why? Because around 45% of the questions are taken from the essential news. So there is a correlation. Why there are more questions asked from essential news and current affairs are more. So always don't avoid studying newspaper. I don't want any of you to read newspaper. You guys have to study newspaper. Study the newspaper and avoid Delhi Times. Read only Indian Express and Hindu, and avoid sports page. In sports page, cricket especially. No cricket. Ban cricket. So when do you stop reading current affairs? As in current affairs, as in reading newspaper. Which newspaper are you all subscribing to? Only Hindu? Indian Express. Okay, how long do you take to study the paper? Huh? Half an hour? 1 hour? 40 minutes? Okay. 1.5 hours? See, if you people have good knowledge, like I know what to study for newspaper, I mean for the current affairs, what I should skip, you will not take more than 1.5 hours. But if you're a fresher, just you're starting to read, you have to get hold, you have to refer few things. You should take 2 hours, 2.5 hours to see if you can do 2 newspapers. Indian Express and Hindu is a good option. Others you can skip. But study the paper. If there are any background topics, always go to internet or anywhere, your basic books, and see what it is, why it is being given, and understand the basic. If 2-3 times you will see, it will stick to your mind. See, questions are asked sometimes direct current affairs, sometimes, and then fundamental questions, how questions are asked from. Yes.
Ma'am, one issue keeps on dragging for like weeks or let's say
Months together, yeah.
So how is one supposed to keep a track of everything?
When news is like that, when you know, let's say a Supreme Court case, and you know before only it won't get end in 1 week, right? It will keep dragging. There will be so many people involved, there will be so many reports coming, they'll appoint a commission, it will go, and then if there is a bill, you know, this will happen today, and then there will be analysis. There, you should not look for the political aspect of the news. Try to understand what is the base, what is the case. You don't keep tracking, as in you don't have to keep take notes of on a daily basis. Keep tracking of it. Just note down, these are the points. Okay, today this is it. See next day. Note it down. You know, like, see, if there is this kind of thing, and if UNFCCC conference is happening, it is not an event that will happen for months. It will just, maximum it will be over in 1 week. Once the conference is over, you will have an outcome, you will have the participants, what are the steps taken, where the next conference is going to happen, what are the key points of the conference. This is what you have to note down, and then key terms. If it's a case, some case, it will drag. You know how cases drag, especially in courts. So wait, keep noticing what is happening, and then at the end what you have to know is crux of the case, and then if there are involvement of any important constitutional body, know the basics of the constitutional body. That is important. Is it all right? So backgrounds and features, like I said, you see RBI is taking some steps, you see a keyword, see the backgrounder and see the feature and understand that, key it up. That is very important. See, right now at this moment you will be studying polity at home. You are planning to start economics next month. Just for that, don't skip economic newses. Read economic newses, and if you see the term, just read the term. What does it mean? Because if you don't see the meaning, it will not stand in your mind. For you, it is just Greeks and Latin. If you don't see, try to understand the meaning of those terms. And when you read economics, that time it will come to your mind. Yeah, I read something related to it in newspaper. If you want, you might go back and search about it and read further. So how serious I should take mock tests? Any mock tests for that matter, any test. Have you all taken tests at least? Have you tried to solve papers? How seriously have you taken? What do you do after taking the tests? You see the marks, okay, I have got 50, I have got 60, negative marking. Chalo, next time I'll do properly. I prepared so hard, I had only 50, 2-3 days, no books. Close it, I'll chill. I've written one test, I'll go watch a movie, I'll go to my friends, and then I'll come. We all do that, right? Okay. See, actually you can do that for one day. What you have to do, or what is ideal, like what is required is, how many questions you have made wrong and why you have made that answer. Why did you make a mistake there? Did you take a guess, or what did you miss in a specific question? You have to analyze your wrong answer. So this way, next time when you come across the same topic, you will avoid that mistake. See, because you attempt a test thinking that you have prepared very well, and still you have made a mistake. And if you have made a mistake, it means that topic you have not prepared well. That topic you have not understood fully. You have missed something in that specific topic. So you have to look for that. So analysis is very, very important. So how do you answer question? From question number 1 to 100 in order? Those who have appeared. I will answer my question in order. Nobody? 2 people. Okay, so this is your first mistake. Next. Okay, I'll answer based on the subjects that I have studied very well. Any of you? Okay. I will answer the questions. I'll go through the questions in order, but I will mark the answer. That is only, I know for sure it is right, not the think that is right. Yes, see, this is the ideal way to mark. You might have studied very well. You know everything about the subject. The mistake you make is here. What happens when you mark in order, starting from question 1 to 100 is, you are not giving yourself time to think. If you take rounds in answering, in first round, not more than 20 questions to 30 questions. If you are prepared very well, you cannot answer more than 30 questions for sure in the round 1, where I know this answer for sure is right, where this answer has come to my mind without even looking at the option. So that is how the first round answers are marked. Second round questions, you will keep it when you have doubts between two options. That is, second round is basically for the questions where you have eliminated the options. So those questions you keep it for the second round. Third question, you have read something about the topic. If I take a guess, I can take a calculated guess. That is the third round question. Fourth round, don't keep at all. It's okay. There are always few questions you have no idea about. Don't think about that question. So 70 to 80 is a good number of questions to answer depending on the difficulty of questions in the examination. But take rounds in answering. What happens when you answer in order is, I know this question and I know this question, and you're stuck up in that question for very long, and that will actually demotivate you. It will not let you proceed further. But when you take rounds, so at the end of first round, if you see 15 or 20 questions, you have answered for sure 20 questions. In my attempts, like I have not, in first attempt, honestly, I have not answered more than 20 questions first round. These 20 questions are the questions which I know for sure without even looking at the option, it is the right answer. So after my first round, I know I have got 20 right marks. So what I would do is, now second round will make me careful enough not to make mistake. I'll read the question properly. Even if I am going to mark an answer, I will ask myself whether am I thinking it is the right answer or it is the right answer. So this way you will mold. So mock test will help you in taking rounds and then understand why you have to answer in rounds, not in order. You can try yourself. Take one test in order, take one test in rounds, then you will see the difference in marks. You will know where you have made a mistake and how you can improve yourself. Yes.
Well, my voluntary experience was like almost an entire paper of 100 questions. I may find 30 questions which I'm very confident enough to write it. I know the answer. 30 questions might be very difficult, which is beyond my reach. But the rest of the 40 questions are in midway, which I'm not really sure about 50% of the answer. Maybe I'm knowing, 50% I'm not knowing. I'm correct about two options, I'm not correct about the other two options. So I believe that these 40 questions were the key questions. So how to attempt those questions, and which is the proportionality of risk that should be taken?
See, that proportionality we cannot say. Even none of us can predict the proportionality, how the questions can come. If you have around 40 questions where you don't know which, after eliminating the options, you still have doubt which to take, it means your preparation at the basic level, that is the understanding of the subject and mastering the subject, there itself then there is a mistake. Because 40 questions, even if it is there, during the second rounds, you should be able to answer. But if you're failing there also, even after eliminating options, when I have two options, I still have doubt which to go forward in that 40 questions, then you have to make your basics very strong. You have to redefine, like use a different strategy which you have used so far and then see how you can prepare well. So the problem lies in the very basics, not with attempting questions. So practice more questions, and before practicing more questions, try to make your basics strong. That's what I said. See, if you read 10 pages, unless and until you are sure that I know very well these 10 pages, don't go for the next page. What happens with most of us is, people who are very good with, very comfortable with English, who understands English when they read, as we all read, we understand the language. See, when we read, we understand through our mother tongue in our mind, and then we grasp. There are few people who just reads, who thinks they have studied, but actually it is not studied. When you can consider yourself you have studied is when you pose question to yourself and you can answer those questions. So unless and until you complete the 10 pages, revise again and again, and see if you can recollect it, don't go for the next pages. So make your basics strong, and this 40 can be reduced. The problem with this 40 questions can be reduced, because when you say I'm not even being able to eliminate the options of the eliminated options, then the problem is with the basics. Just think about it, because based on the information that you have given me, this is what I could tell you.
I would like to add on this, ma'am. At times there are current affairs and you know something about that because it's like sometimes quite detailed, and then you are unable to eliminate, like maybe two options you have eliminated and then you are confused, either it's two or three, only two.
That's
Then
what I
that's
said.
the problem. Like,
That's what I said. There are few questions 10 questions which are out of your reach.
Oh, so they are like out.
Yeah. See, you might have read something about it somewhere, but you have no clue about it, what it is. These are questions where you should not put your mind to. See, I might have heard about, let's say, ISIS. I might have heard. I might have not given much track about it, what is really happening there. But if some question has asked, I have read ISIS, but I don't know anything. Honestly, I have not read at all. I have just read the headlines. I have not read anything in detail. So that one, that realization should be there, what you have read in it. So there are questions that are, yeah, there are questions which are out of your reach. Don't break your head for it. So those who have taken tests, have you felt lack of time? Okay, still you have not then started taking tests then. So always make sure that you don't feel lack of time. Ideally, you should not feel much lack of time, and you should also not finish it much earlier. You should not have half an hour in hand. You should have like 5-10 minutes for you to see whether you have attempted all necessary questions. So getting stuck, this is what I said. So when you try to solve a question, I know this. This is what I know. This I am stuck. I have read it. I don't know. I have read it. I know the options. It is one among the 4. I know it's one among the 4. Okay, it is one among the 4 options, but you are stuck there. Leave that question, because these are the questions that will drag you down, which will demotivate you. If you know this question, any question that is taking your time more than a minute or 2, pass. You can come back to the question always, because you have enough time. The question paper is with you. The OMR sheet is with you. You can fill it anytime. Don't get stuck at one question. Keep moving forward. Takes rounds, and at the end of all the 3-4 rounds, still you are not being able to answer, consider this question as one of those questions which you don't know. So order of appearance I just discussed. So ability to identify questions for guesswork, whether you are making a guess, whether it is an intelligent guess or just a random guess. So when you make a guess, ask this yourself, whether am I making an intelligent guess based on what I am eliminating the option, or I am just making, okay, these 2 I have eliminated, the answer should be one of these 2, let me take this as the answer. If it comes, let it come, otherwise let it go. It happens, no? So question yourself whether you are taking an intelligent guess or it's just a blind guess. Okay, let me take chances. And when you take chances, also ask for how many questions you are taking a blind guess chance. Incorrect responses. So some of us, we always, instead of marking the answer C in the 19th, we mark it 9th or at 29th. When we take rounds, this happens, because we are not doing it in order. We take rounds, instead of 19th, we'll mark in 17th or 18th. So be careful, keep a scale or something. Incorrect responses is okay unless and until it is 1. We should avoid that 1 also, because that 1 costs 2 marks for us. So how many questions I should attempt? How many questions if I attempt, I am at the safer side? Ideally, they have said 80 plus and then 70 plus. So we consider 70 to 85 is a ideal place to attempt a number of questions. Don't attempt 100 questions. If you are attempting 100 questions, I think you know everything about civil services. So don't do that mistake of attempting 100 questions. 85 is maximum if you have really prepared good, that like you have prepared for a quiz contest. Ask any question, I will be able to answer. That kind of preparation. 70 is a good score, like where you can consider yourself you have marked safe, like based on your preparation level. Again, it depends on 70 to 85, any number of questions. So how do you devote your time for the exam preparation? One is based on civil services previous year paper, or based on your which subject you perceive as your difficulty level, and then guidance of others. This is just to show what people have taken as their choice, what they have taken, like whether they have taken others' guidance or they have taken their difficulty level or based on previous year question paper. See, leave the others' guidance and choices. You know which subject you like very well, which subject you have interest in, and which is your difficulty level, where you are facing difficulty. And previous year question paper you cannot avoid. It is like salt, not like salt, yes. Salt is something like you will take the amount that is required for you, but it is an essential evil. You should always have it. You don't want to see, but you have to have it. It is like that. It will stick with you till the examination, throughout the examination period. You have to refer previous year question paper. Even if you have referred previous year, last year during my attempt I have referred the previous year question paper, this year I don't have to see, no, read it again. Previous year questions papers are very essential because it will help you to smart predict the topics. If you see previous 10 years question paper, you know how the questions are asked, which topics are asked. Maybe the way the questions are asked might be changed, but that topic will always remain. So, number of days that you should give for revision before the examination. They have given 90 days. 90% of the people have said around 20 plus days. So, 1 month is the ideal time. Before 1 month, you should have been completing like all the basics, and newspaper should be completed very well. Maybe one revision should also be finished where you know very well. And this 30 plus days, that is 1 month, in this 1 month you should be revising as many times as possible. Revising at just before 1 month is like you have finished the subject preparation very well, where you have to just sit and write as many tests as possible, solve question papers, and then if you have doubts, you have to concentrate on that specific topics. The topics where you really miss, in spite of reading again and again, I always keep missing something there. So that topics you should devote time at this period, and then revision should be the ideal 30 days. But after this, just before, in this last 1 month, if August 7th is exam, July 6th you are stopping. July 7th is your fresh new beginning for revision. You should not read any newspaper, not read any newspaper just for 1 month, and then you have to revise the pending newspaper after the examination. Either you can cover it through magazine or anything. Just for this 1 month, really gain that 1.5 hours for revising the material as much times as possible. Revision is very, very important. So it is not, why revision? Don't see it as it's a separate exercise, like I have to do it religiously, not like that. It is like you have to keep test paper, you have to keep mock test, discussions with your friends, or if you are not comfortable with discussion with your friends, take brainstorm the topics, ask question yourself, take test, and then see why answer is wrong and all that. And then keep, as you keep preparing from now, you all will have different types of things to revise, like flashcards. You will cut papers into pieces, write important notes and keep revising. We all have. Some of us will write it in notebook and then keep reading it again. We use Evernote. Who are comfortable with laptop, we use Evernote. We have stick-ons here and there. We take a paper, write it, and then it depends on us. What we want to use, we can use. Trust me, recording is a very good exercise. If people don't have problem in listening to their own voice, and if you have a good recorder, after studying any subject, record it, listen. You know what you have really understood. You study something about president fully, the powers of the president, record it, what you have studied, what you have understood in your own language or anything, because nobody is going to listen, only you are going to listen. It's like your diary. So don't listen, you will know what you have understood, what you have missed, which topics, and when you listen to it again, keep looking at the book. You will know what you have grasped, what you remember, and what you have not remembered. People, if you really don't have problem listening to your own voice, please record and see the exercise if it works. It is fun. And actually, recording minimizes your stress also, because listening to your own voice is really fun. So, you want to clear the prelims or top the prelims? Clearing the prelims is enough. You don't have to top the prelims. People who think of topping the prelims, please come to this level of clearing prelims and prepare accordingly. But you have to top the mains. Always remember, clear prelims, top the mains. Mains you need more marks, because mains marks make difference in your final call. You have got some 700 in mains and your friend have got 650, and in interview he has got 130 and you have got 100. Okay, like, or the other way around. People who have got more marks in mains have always made a difference in the rank list. So mains you have to top, prelims you just have to clear, but which is the safer side for you? Okay, so in prelims what happens is from around 4 lakh people, 14,000 people are filtered out, that they are fit for the next level. So that 14,000 is somewhere around 4, let's say 4%, 4 to 5% of the students or aspirants. So that 4 to 5%, you should know, like there are around 10 people with you. You should top the 10 people. You don't have to top the 4 lakh people. You just have to top that 10 people who are there with you. But don't try to top the 10 people who are not at all studying. Okay, that's a very bad example. See the 10 people who are among you who is preparing really hard and try to top that 10 people, not 10 people who are every day going for movies, CP, I'm going to mall. Don't try to top that 10 people. Doesn't work. Top people who are actually preparing. See, time management is very important. So time is doing its job, like I've been telling in every session this one, time is doing its job for years together, millions of years together. It gives us the same 24 hours and the 7 days. All of us have, it is not being partial, it is following its fundamental duty of right to equality to everyone. Just that we are not taking the 24 hours properly and utilizing it properly. We all have the same 24 hours. We should know how to manage that time, 24 hours, setting a primary goal, what I have to study, a secondary goal, and then prepare accordingly. Time though it's doing its job, no? Is there any difference that no, time is giving you 24 hours and I am getting only 22 hours? It is, if you say it's making me sleep extra 2 hours than you, because you decide to sleep. Time has not put you in sleep, right? So update your plan every day. People who read newspaper, if I ask you today what you read in newspaper today morning, you will be able to list a set of things. After 10 days, if I ask you what was the headline of today's paper, you might roughly know what happened in the last 10 days. But if I ask you what was the headline of today's news after 10 days, will you all be able to tell? No. You roughly know what you did, but you don't know exactly what was the news. Have a small diary, update what you did. Even if you have not done anything, write I have not done anything. It's okay. Okay, but if you have read 10 pages from a book, right, you have did 10 pages from a book. After 1 week, go through it. See what you have done. How far you are coming. Are you going, at least this 10 days record will show you, are you going forward? Are you still at the same place? Are you not doing anything? See, you all have put in certain amount. You have come here to learn. You are learning, you have all come with a goal, but unless and until you track your progress, people who prepare themselves for this 100 meters race, if you actually see, there is always somebody who stands with a timer. If 9 seconds is the world record, they'll see if they can try to achieve that, because they keep track of time. If time 1, what is their second? If they cannot keep track of that second, in what seconds they are reaching, they are crossing the finish line. If they don't keep track of the record, like the progress, it is very difficult for him to achieve what he wants to achieve. Just do it for 10 days. I am not forcing any of you to do it religiously. No, when you go from here, this is what you have to do. Just for the sake you are here, and just for the sake I have told you, if you don't follow, it's well and good. Because I don't know you, you don't know me. Our conversation after this class is over. Our relationship with this class is over. If this, whatever we have told you here based on our experiences and our research, if we have told you something, and if among 10 of you, even 1 of you try to follow something and it has given you results, we will be happy, because we have failed and we want to share the experience. What we have not been able to accomplish, we want to share it with you. We don't want to see you here, we want to see you somewhere else. That's why we are putting a lot of effort to come up with so many options to give you. So what you do is just see, track your progress, how you do, because it will really help. If you cannot remember a very important headline that has happened 10 days ago, how will you be able to track how you are progressing throughout the days? Hai na? Just try to do it. If it's not helping, leave it, but just put an effort. So best time to study. You think you're putting a lot of time, your friend is studying in the morning or you at night, Don't worry what other people are doing it. You have your own time, stick to it, and then keep preparing for it. Okay, manage yourself during the time. Don't take so now what will happen is, like, next we have another set of series to happen. What to study, what not to study, how to study, from where to study, and all that will be solved for each and every subject. We'll see, this is the syllabus of these are the major topics that are covered in GS prelims. Okay, other than that you don't have to see much. So decoding the portions, like which is the important topic, what you have to look in for MCQs, all this will be dealt by different faculties. You should recognize your threat, where you are making a mistake, whether your incorrect options, the keyword you are failing to notice. If you are getting stuck, you have to notice all this. So all questions carry equal marks. So it's just that if you have prepared very well a certain topic, you will be able to answer that question. The other person might not be able to do. But you should know where you have to put an effort and prepare well. So decoding the subjects is like, we'll start with one subject after the other. What I'll do, I'll start with art and culture. Since I'm here, so I have to, otherwise I have to come again and you have to meet me. So ancient Indian history, medieval Indian history, and art and culture. See, I'm not going to discuss anything with medieval Indian history, and because there are not much questions asked, like I said, we'll directly move to ancient Indian history and art and culture. See, this is the syllabus, history of India. In history of India, it means we'll start from the very old things. So you all have studied art and culture before? You have studied, how many of you have not studied that? I don't have my idea about what is covered in art and culture. Okay, so you guys just make a note of it. As you keep preparing, take help of this session, okay? See, this is how the question trend was there in 2013. Culture, around 8 questions from medium to difficulty level. In 2015 there was a double of it, 15, and then 2015 suddenly it is down. Now I don't know whether the subject is really important or not. Ideally, art and culture is nothing but just a flowery edition of ancient Indian history. Before, there used to be a syllabus of ancient Indian history, just that they have started asking in a different orientation. Ancient Indian history includes political life, social life, and kingdoms especially, but art and culture includes specifically the culture and various art forms during this period, and how did the art forms make change in the kingdom, how it took changes as the civilization changes. So that is how the questions have changed. So mostly in why sometimes we all feel difficulty in studying art and culture is, we don't have any continuous record. Like in modern Indian history, if you take from 1857, like I said, it's like a movie. This is art and culture, we don't have anything, it's like a cartoon. You take any episode, you can read, you suddenly take architecture, you can read everything about it, finish it. And then you take painting, you read everything about it and it is finished. So it is purely facts, there is no timeline of it. You have to connect the dots, you try to put a link and then you can read. And timeline is also not very specific. If we know, for example, in history, it is altogether different. We can go through years, we can go through lords, we can go through people, I mean important freedom fighters and all. But in art and culture, it is not like that, it is only facts. So that you can study, whether you should skip the subject or study the subject based on the marks. I will not force you, no, you have to study the subject, no, you should not study the subject. But art and culture is a very interesting subject if you all can read. So this is one book, Introduction to Fine Arts. Okay, so this book you read it. What are the various art and architecture forms that is there in the country? Read this book, it's a really good book, around 100 pages book. It will tell you different art forms and architecture form. And after reading this book, go to CCRT website, or CCRT website's collective material, I think it is available in the market. Somebody has good soul has compiled it and then they have printed and then they are selling it in the market. Read this material, it again gives you a detailed note of performing arts. all important forms from art forms from most important to least important aspects are covered there. There's one more book, Tamil Nadu State textbook. Okay, this book it has a very compiled edition. You will find everything. Sorry, something about everything will always be is there in this book. If you have trouble starting somewhere, this book is also a good place to start. They have given a rough time frame, like they have followed a time frame where all you can download this book from internet, I think. So every kingdom starting from Indus Valley Harappan civilization to the latest medieval century, like where the Delhi Sultanates came, till there political life, social life, cultural life happened in something about everything is given in this book. So once you know that, it will be very easy for you to fill the other facts inside it. This book will act as a content for you. This is based on my experience. This book will act as a good content. So you can add this fine arts. No, if you think no, I don't want, I'll go from fine arts book. It's your wish. I'm just telling, this book will give you a good content part. It will give you a timeline to start with. India Yearbook, there are 3 chapters: land and the people, culture. So this chapter is important because sometimes the questions are asked not directly from it. In emblem there is Satyameva Jayate. They ask from where does the word Satyameva Jayate has been taken. There they talk about Indian calendar, it starts from the month of Chaitra, and then the question is asked about Chaitra. So the questions are asked not directly, it is influence, you will find an influence. And then there is the last chapter which describes in detail about states. Read all the festivals, fairs and important features of that states. At least if you are not reading the other things, the last I think 32nd chapter of India Yearbook, it deals with all the states of India, and at the end of each state they would have given important fairs and festivals of the state. Just note down that. So you read the questions that is there. Why art and culture or ancient Indian history is full of facts? How do you remember them? Do you use any tricks and techniques? Yes, you can use tricks and techniques like I discussed earlier. Use memory cards. For paintings, if you are not sure, as you read paintings, if you want to know, if you have good internet, search for that painting, you will get a picture. As you read the painting, see what are the features in the picture. So you will be able to remember the picture. Download the picture, just name it and see, highlight the features and keep it. Pictures are the best way to study art and culture. And then is there any simpler version? There is, it depends on you. Like I said, I have given you 3 good important sources. Stick to it, don't go beyond this. Revise it again and again. How you link these 3 books and then study is more important. You don't have to read everything from all the books. For example, there is one book, Ancient Indian History, old NCERT mein Buddhism and Jainism is very well covered. You don't have to cover that from any other place, not from Tamil Nadu's textbook or from Indian Fine Arts, though it is not there much. You don't have to cover from there. So you have to see where it is very broadly covered and then cover from that. See, these are the topics which from 1995 we made a, we saw the previous year. There will be around 300 questions from 1995 you see. You can see in the previous year question papers. Note down these topics. So the questions are somehow in one way or the other are repeated from these topics. Buddhism, Jainism, the PDF of this session is uploaded in the online page, vishanayas.in page. You can download the entire PDF also, like the PowerPoint presentation. Is it okay? Can you download from there, guys, or if you want to note down? You want to note down? Okay, yeah, note down. Some or the other way the questions are asked. Always a question on Buddhism. If you see something about the administration level or cultural life of Harappan civilization or Indus Valley civilization, various books that were written during ancient Indian history, they might ask what is the meaning of a specific theorem that has discovered in, written by a specific author in a subject, instrument used for medical practices during the ancient period, some calculus books name. Mid kingdoms is nothing but the Satavahanas, Vijayanagar Empire, You know the small kingdoms that is in the place of Deccan, and then Kushanas who came from the Aryan period, like when they came, they invaded, and for some time there was a change of kingdoms. Those kind of kingdoms. Vedas, like I said, example was Satyameva Jayate, and then what was Ashoka, Gupta and Mauryan period, where stupas and pillars, questions on stupas and pillars were asked. Literature, Sanskrit, Pali, classical language. There was a question on classical language 2 years back because that question was there in current affairs. Because Odia was given the status of classical language. Architecture, different architecture types. Philosophy, there are 6 philosophies. Classical dance, folk and theatre forms. Bhakti movement during the 12th, 13th to 16th century. Paintings and personalities associated in various art forms. Written? Shall I move? Okay, see I just gave an example of how the questions are repeated again and again with respect to Buddhism. There was a question on Buddhism and then about Jainism, comparison of Buddhism and Jainism. So don't leave these two topics, it is very, very important. At least see if you read 100 pages and if you are getting one question out of it, it is a good source. Consider it as a good source. So architecture, when I study architecture, what are the things that I have to keep in mind? In which period, who were the king at that place, who were the king, and where was that temple form or architectural form is found, what are the different styles, Dravida, Nagara and Visara, and where is it, and sculpture, what kind of sculpture or paintings found in these temples, other art forms associated with a very specific architecture. Like you see, there is a cave architecture also we'll find, and then we'll find mural paintings there. We talk about Kailashnath temple, and there is a different sculptures that we read. Indo-Islamic architecture, how the transition took place. See, there was a question about this Panchayatan. If you people have read previous year question paper, there was a question about Panchayatan. This is a kind of architecture. Why this question was asked? This kind of architecture is found in the Deccan areas, like at a different place during the 12th and 13th century. But this architecture is found in Pinjore in Haryana. Bhim Devi temple is built on this kind of architecture level, and this monument was awarded the best maintained monument in the country. So the question on this architecture was asked in the following years. So if you read something about art and culture and news, always try to find the history of it. The questions are sometimes asked from there. Dance forms, the questions are asked on dance forms, like they had asked always a question, Kshatriya and Draupad, it's a musical form, and then dance mein Bharatanatyam question about Natya Shastra. Okay, all these questions are like, if you actually see the previous year question papers, if either they have asked in 1998 and then the question was repeated in 2012, and then they ask about some music, well-known personalities associated with music or any specific instrument, and they are asked again. Buddhist monastery, there are 2-3 Buddhist monasteries, questions related to just Buddhist monastery, around I think 5 times I have seen in the previous year question papers. If you had just seen that 5 questions, you would have definitely answered last year the same question.
How to answer the second question?
Which one? How do you distinguish between Kuchipudi and Bharatanatyam dance? There are 4 options. I just didn't give the options. Okay, there are like other special art forms, like on regional traditions, tribal arts, handicrafts, like kalamkari. It is a painting done in the Andhra. Okay, like on the sari they do on cloth. So they had asked a question on that. And this Kalari Payettu, Pookolam, Chenda, all these are related to Kerala folk arts. So some question always comes from anything related to Kerala. So keep a note on that also. Other than that, nothing. Art and culture is a very easy subject. Read Friday Review. Don't read Delhi Times. Hindu mein Friday Review hai. Read that every Friday. Okay. See, this is how I'm just giving you two clips of current affairs. In 2014, Odia gets classical language status, and there was a question on classical language. And then in Friday review again there was a question about the manganese. If you find something a very different term other than Coke Studio or any other people who does all the pop and rap, if you find something like this, keep note of those things in Friday review. Remember, UPSC will forget Coke Studio, but they'll ask questions from these things. Okay, so questions like this come, keep note of it. This is it. I'm keeping my session on culture very short because read culture, it's a very easiest subject and very interesting also. Get to know your country's past, and we'll start with the next subject. And any doubts? Till June, yeah. Till July you can read. July 1st week.
How to handle the multiplicity of sources for the same topic or for the same chapter?
Why do you even want to go to multiple resources?
If they are equally good, sometimes we find there is something missing.
Then you choose which one you want. Put inky pinky ponky and choose one good resources out of 4 good resources.
But there is something that we don't find.
There are something that you don't find. So read only that you don't find in the other resources. Don't read the entire material.
Keep one base book.
Keep one base book, okay, and keep adding points from other things. Don't read the entire topic again and again, and don't make duplicate your work. And then what happens is, instead of reading one new topic, you will again end up reading 3-4 topics again. There will be a slight language change in the second book, and then you will keep confused speaking. इसमें ऐसे है, इसमें ऐसे है, इन दोनों में which one I should finally read. So avoid reading multiple resources. Read one basic book, and which is a standard book. If you still have doubt, refer the reference book. Like let's say you are reading Lakshmikant. If you have doubts in Lakshmikant, refer it from D.D. Basu or from Bakshi. Don't go for other classroom material or anywhere else where you have doubt, or refer internet. Don't go for too many books.
Like you mentioned in things like Buddhism and Jainism is very well mentioned in one particular incident. These type of things do very come with experience or after reading multiple sources or having
Google is your best resource. Otherwise, we will tell you for each subject. See, that's what the paper that you have it in your hand. We have given ideally what books should be referred, and you know what is difficult is, that's what I'm saying. For subtopic, it is very difficult for us to tell you for each and everything. For him, ancient Indian history book might be very good. For me, CCRT website is more than enough. I will not read ancient Indian history book. I don't like. I am comfortable with laptop. Whatever material comes out of it, I'll study from here. I might not study. So this subtopic, it is in your hands. You decide till up to which level you want to go.
there is no knowledge, ma'am. Like it only comes with after giving a couple of
Then basically for right now you go with the basic books that we have given, and as you see the experiences you will learn. If you want to read more, you will know that. For now you stick to the basic books that we have referred. Thank you guys. Next session will be here now.
I'll be taking modern Indian history and polity section. These two sections are very important. Why very important? Because the amount of input you put, you get a very good output. Why? Again, give me one reason. So limited books, sources hai. What else? Questions, are they tough? No. So what are they checking? Basic. Right. Okay. So in the forthcoming slides, what we'll be seeing is the syllabus, approach, nature of questions, discussion of the previous years, and how to study history. Discussion of previous years. I want this thing to be very clear, because if someone of you who's starting his preparation just now, previous year papers should be considered as a ritual. Ritual in the sense that, see, you just cannot appear for UPSC without knowing UPSC. And how can you know UPSC? Through books? No, not exactly. Through previous year papers. You don't just have to look at them, but how to, what are they asking? Suppose if you are starting a chapter, if you're starting one section, you've joined some coaching class and you are starting with one particular section, first see the questions. When you see a question, you get to know what are they looking into that particular section. Suppose for example, freedom national struggle. What are the areas they keep on asking questions on? Someone who's appeared for UPSC previously? National movement. National movement में क्या? Gandhian. Okay. Rowlatt Act, Lahore session, all such things. So previous year paper analysis should be the first thing which you should do. Again, I am repeating, you don't have to read the questions, but you have to dig into the facts. Why, if a statement is incorrect, what is the reason behind it? If they have asked a question on Lahore session or Rowlatt Act, what all statements have they given as incorrect ones? Are they in comparison to some other event? If the statement given is of some other event, then that event also becomes very important in the eyes of UPSC. Getting what I want to say? You have to study the previous year papers. That is the key success mantra, whatever you say, to crack prelims. Polity, history, geography, economics. 4 pillars of UPSC prelim section. If you are done with that in terms of conceptual clarity, in terms of all the questions, the number, how much you practice, you will get the results, good results. Okay? The official syllabus in prelims with respect to history and modern Indian history is History of India and Indian National Movement. Clear with this? Questions over the years. 6, 5, 8. 2013 mein they asked 6, then 14, 5, 15 mein 8. The trend with respect to modern Indian history questions have been a mixed one. Factual, analytical and logical. This year, who all of you have appeared for prelims? Okay. So what was your take on history questions, modern Indian history? Easy? Weren't they difficult? Spectrum. Okay. Acha. If UPSC is making a question difficult, they are not making difficult statements per se. What they are making difficult is the options. Options are too close. So again, the underlying notion is that they just want to check on your precision, they just want to check on your clarity about the event. The concepts, the events are very simple. They are not putting any, what do I say, any trap per se with respect to, they are making difficult questions in relation to the statements, but the options. Okay? So what you have to do is that you have to have multiple readings to have that clarity. History, polity, both. Why multiple readings are important? Because if you have revised the thing very properly, you will not get confused. Questions become confusing only when you are just poking yourself to remind yourself to what was it all about. Acha, aise hi tha. So that makes the question difficult if your revision is not up to the mark. Okay. For the beginners, you have to start with this old NCERT of Bipin Chandra, 12th, NCERT class 12th. This is the most basic book, simply written and very easy to understand. 2-3 readings of this book and then you have to go to Bipin Chandra's India's Struggle for Independence. Why this book I have chosen as a primary source and not Spectrum? It will help you in mains. See, prelims and mains preparation should not be seen as independent activities. If you are studying for mains, you are understanding a thing in a more comprehensive manner. The elimination of statements become easier. You are more clear about it. So this book over Spectrum only because it will help you in mains, right? And again, I have a logic of saying many questions from this year were directly lifted from this book, and I'll show you. Okay, how many of you feel that timeline is not important, or one can just read history or understand history without a timeline? Anyone of you? All of you think that timeline is important? Very good. Why timeline is important?
We can correlate things.
Correlate things, yes. Then you get to know why the events occurred, for what reason. There is a relation between one event with the other, as rightly put by her, that there is a correlation. So you have to not memorize the timeline but understand it. Okay? We'll be seeing questions on the basis of timeline. If someone has a doubt that one can do away with timeline, then I have a foolproof thing that to convince you that timeline is very important. UPSC is asking questions on timeline. Which of the following movements has contributed to a split in the INC resulting in the emergence of extremists and moderates? The question is very easy, right? But if you don't know the timeline, then the question would become difficult. Okay? Convinced? 2014 prelims. The nature of question has changed, but again it's related to chronology or the order of the event. The partition of Bengal made by Lord Curzon in 1905 lasted until. Anyone who wants to answer this question? B. Convinced that again this question is based on timeline? 2015, I have another set of questions by which you can eliminate one option using a timeline. That is the third statement. Demonstrations against the arrival of Simon Commission coincided with Rowlatt Satyagraha. Any one of you who can give me the years?
27.
And Rowlatt?
19.
ठीक है, तो third is eliminated. You are close, you are down to two options, 1 and 1 and 2. The things become simpler. You are able to eliminate one statement, right? Who said that questions were from spectrum directly? Okay. Was this line given? The Rowlatt Act was based on the recommendations of the Sedition Committee. Did you find it in the spectrum book? No? Not there. Bipin Chandra has it. India's Struggle for Independence. It was first cogently put forward by V. Chirol, the Rowlatt Sedition Committee report. The second statement, again I'm moving it backwards. In Rowlatt Satyagraha, Gandhiji tried to utilize the Home Rule League. Many candidates had a confusion over this statement, right? You had? Bipin Chandra. Home Rule Leagues and their members were taken out, contacts established and propaganda began. Convinced? Bipin Chandra, helpful for mains as well as PT. Again, timeline based question. Quit India movement was launched in response to. Simple, but again timeline based. Who all of you think that personality based questions are usually asked in mains and not prelims? All these notions I am here to just bust. There is no strict pattern which UPSC is following with respect to mains and prelims. They are asking you each and everything. And how can you just ignore a personality's contribution when studying history? You just cannot, right? So be it prelims, be it mains, you have to know the personality, you have to know their contribution, and then you have to move forward. Now we'll be seeing the personality based questions. Who of the following organized a march on the Tanjore coast to break the salt law in April 1930? Many of you would be having confusion in Chidambaram Pillai and C. Rajagopalachari. But the answer was there directly. Bipin Chandra. C. Rajagopalachari led a salt march from Tiruchinpalli to Vedaranayam on the Tanjore coast. I'm again going backwards. Tanjore coast was written in the statement. The book has it. Convinced? Okay. Who of the following was or were economic critic or critiques of colonialism in India? See, this question was very easy. Why? Any one of you who had confusion in this question? कि एक ही पता है दूसरा नहीं पता है. Even if you knew one or two, which is very evident with respect to Dadabhai Naoroji and R.C. Dutt given as an option. If 1 and 3 is clear, the question was the cakewalk. Matlab you just don't have to apply your brains. It was the easiest question, right? But again, personality based question. Dadabhai Naoroji, R.C. Dutt, G. Subramanya Iyer. That were the options given. I'm just showing you the snapshot of Bipin Chandra's India struggle for independence. All these three personalities were given there. Annie Besant, 2013 prelims. Responsible for starting Home Rule movement, second founder of Theosophical Society, once the president of INC. Any problem with this question? अगर confusion होगी with respect to, it would be second. So what you have to do, you have to be very clear with respect to, see, UPSC knows where students would get confused. And they put a wrong statement usually in the middle or in the last, because when you read statements, you just connect with it very instantly. So there are greater number of chances you marking it incorrectly. They do it like that. Okay? Answer 1 and 3. Bipin Chandra. She came to India in 1893 to work for Theosophical Society. If she came to work for Theosophical Society, she cannot be its founder. Building of a movement for home rule, once elected as president December 1917. All from our great book, India's Struggle for Independence. Then there is another category of questions which UPSC is asking for with respect to modern Indian history. These are cause or reason based questions. Now these questions become very typical and you have to be very precise. Okay, we'll be seeing such questions. The Radcliffe Committee was appointed to. Again, an easy question. But you need to know the exact answer, because sometimes options may confuse you. But if you have revised your syllabus well, your basic books well, there are very, very minuscule, lesser number of chances for you to falter. Again, I am re-emphasizing my point. The more you are giving into it, greater you are getting out of it. Input, output, higher output, less input. The 1929 session of INC is of significance in the history of freedom movement because, reason-based question, the answer is very simple, Poon Swaraj, everyone knows it, right? It was explicitly given in India's Struggle for Independence, Bipin Chandra. And if Bipin Chandra book is saying only honorable goal, then you should focus on the line. Only honorable goal. I'll also show you how many number of times Lahore session has been asked in different forms. Had it not been important in the eyes of UPSC, they would not have asked. So like in greater number. Only honorable goal. It was a very big thing to ask for, to just say directly on the face of Britishers that now we want complete independence. So the session is very important. The demand for the Tebhaga peasant movement in Bengal was for, again a reason-based question. It's there in Bipin Chandra. Again the answer is A, 1/3. It was a Tebhaga struggle in Bengal that held the limelight in late 1946. Jyotidas, but only 1/3, and that before division. So 1/3 was explicitly given. Okay? So you don't have to see here, there, in every bookstore to find books for modern Indian history. Why previous year papers? Very important, I told you in the beginning, but then I'll just show you why it's important. 2014 and 2012, Lahore session was asked. If it's like they're asking in such a short span of time, it's important. And how do you know about it? By seeing UPSC papers. The question is not same, but the form changes, the nature changes. Again in 2004 they asked another form of Lahore session question, who's the president? ठीक है. Rowlatt Act, again another event which is often asked by UPSC in different forms, in very different forms. So when you are just seeing the question, see what nature the question is going and is in the eyes of UPSC. Then you will be able to read the event and understand it with different dimensions, and that is very important. ठीक है? You need to discuss all these questions? No. 2009, 2007, all other forms of Rowlatt Act questions, different forms. See the gap, 2007 में पूछा, 9 में पूछा, 2 years gap. How to study history? Do you have any particular queries regarding that, regarding this? Any difficulty in studying history? How do you study history? Yeah, come on, be very realistic. ऐसा तो होगा नहीं that you are not having any incorrect question when you are attempting UPSC papers. If you are, then please share. What are the problem areas? What difficulties you face when you see a question with respect to history? You all guys have so great accuracy level with respect to modern Indian history? Huh? Recalling. Confusion between two options. And do you do the analysis after attempting any question, that why do you get confused? Lack of revision maybe, Hana? What else?
There are so many that those Indian acts which were passed like 1858. After that we had some acts before in the Queen's region, and you have provisions. And sometimes it's like you get confused. Oh, what was the provision? Like they are so interlinked. Like once there will be like separation of power and then judiciary.
See, then that means you've not understood the nature of the acts. There are three types of acts particularly: Charter Acts, Government of India Act, and Indian Councils Act. Charter Act nature is based on trade. That was trade open to the East India Company. When was it closed? China के साथ trade कब बंद किया था tea में, and some things like that. When it comes to Indian Councils Act, then council means what? Changes in legislature, changes in terms of seats. So the nature of the provisions would be in sync with the nature of the act. Getting what I want to say? Government of India Act pertains to the fundamental changes which happened with respect to the overall Indian administration. I'll just give you an example. Give me one Government of India Act. I want 1919. Okay. 1919 mein what was the fundamental thing which happened? So that was a fundamental thing, no? It changed the overall administration of the nation. So if you are clear with the nature of the acts, then to link and correlate with the provisions would not be difficult, would not confuse you. Charter Acts, trade. Indian Councils Act pertains to legislative changes. In Government of India Act, overall administrative changes.
So ma'am, the basic problem lies with the approach.
Approach, yes. That's why I'm asking you, ki, how do you study history? That's when I can intervene and solve your things, the issues.
Because we don't look at things the way you said.
Huh.
We just want to mug up things. Like
That's what.
That's the approach.
So when you are studying history, first see, you have to understand it. Give a very good holistic reading. That's why I said pick old NCRT first. Have a base. Visualize the whole history section as a movie running. Okay? Just get the hang of it. And then, one thing also I need to make myself clear on. How many of you are making notes of history? Notes. Acha. How do you make your notes? After reading second time. No one of you, huh? I hope you are not doing like this, that one chapter you have read and then making notes. No one should do it for any subject. First you need to have a very deep understanding, very broad understanding. Once you have finished one book, In the second reading, then you will be able to gauge yourself that how much have you understood the thing, how much you memorize the points, and how much clarity you've had with respect to that particular book. Then only notes are to be made. Okay? And with respect to your doubt, approach you can only get when you see UPSC questions. As simple as that.
But then what you said, ma'am, basically in history there's a preconceived notion like this is the thing you have to.
No, it's not like that. See, history is a story. It's made up of events which you can easily correlate with. Why? Because it's all about India. You watch a movie, then have a better grip at it, and then you read a particular book. You will be able to manage yourself. If you, how do I say like this, that if I tell you this thing in one go, that Lahore session held in 1929, okay, how far you will be able to remember that thing? Maybe for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. But if I tell you the significance of it, you will be able to remember it in a more greater significance, and it will stick to you for long. So when you have to read history, you have to understand the significance of the event. You have to relate with things. How you have to relate? Suppose you are reading about Gandhi's entry into India and the events that happened afterwards. So when he made his entry, you have to visualize him, that what was India before his advent. This time they asked a question in mains, that what would have been the contribution in the Indian national freedom struggle without Gandhi. So if you are not thinking in those lines, that you are not visualizing the whole thing, you won't be able to connect with things. So you have to relate with the personality. You have to relate and understand the significance of the event. Like I said, 1929 Lahore session is why significant, because they, for the first time, explicitly on the face of Britishers, they said that we want complete independence. So that's why it's significant. And if you're reading Acts, try to understand it yourself by linking things again. See, there is a correlation between Charter Acts. There is a correlation with Councils Act. Now, if you'll go back to your books and study it, you will be in a more comfortable position to understand them. You have to have a clear understanding by having multiple readings. You don't have to take a subject in the form of that this is the fact and I'm just putting inside me without understanding why it was like that. So UPSC syllabus is not like that. UPSC's type of asking question and the kind of nature they are adopting while framing the statements is not like that. You have to have a better grip on the subject, be it history, be it polity, be it geography, any subject. Okay? So note making, discuss with your friends, compare the events in terms of methods, in terms of approach. Why was peasant struggles, like the nature of peasant struggles before 1857 and after 1857? There is a huge difference. Find out the reasons, why it happened, why there is a change, and you'll find the reason. Okay? That's how you have to study history. Visualize it like a movie. Okay? How do I say? Curzon had a very reactionary policies. He hated Indians. Hate him also. Come on, you can hate him and then you can know him better. You have to connect with the characters, you have to connect with the event, and that's how you can understand it better. You have to hate.
It seems as if we need to strike a dialogue with them.
Yes, you have to be very communicative. See, history is one subject where you can be communicative. You can be communicative. You have to make it interesting. It has a very larger stake in mains as well. You cannot answer a question just by knowing things. You have to understand them. Unless and until you don't understand Ambedkar, you don't understand Gandhi, you don't understand Nehru, their policies, how will you be able to connect with them and write good answers in mains? You just don't have to read as it is. You have to take them, you have to connect with them, you have to build a relationship. ठीक है? 18th century. यार राणा प्रताप नहीं, राणा प्रताप तो मैं पीछे चली गई हूँ. Connect with 18th century, Raja Ram Mohan Roy, all these stuff. See, hate the social customs which we had then. But then there is a logic behind it. We cannot say that the customs which they followed didn't have a base. If rationalists came, if the modernists came or the revivalists came, they wanted a bigger picture out of it. They wanted to change. Why change? What impact were they having on society, on different sections? So that's how you have to relate. Huh? Huh? Marathas and all. See, you have to see how do you do history. मतलब you have to visualize कि अच्छा fighting हो रही है. Just see the scenes. When you are reading history, just imagine the scenes that they are taking place in front of your eyes. You can easily do that. You can relate with movies. You remember each and every dialogue, don't you? You remember each and every dialogue of it. When it's like when you visualize something, when you yourself is into it, you connect it better. It's the same way saying that if any impactful scene came, you are memorizing the dialogue. So if a book is having some event, impactful event, you should communicate with it. You will never forget the way I'm telling you if I'm saying ki it was the first time the Indians on face demanded complete independence. That was a major thing. So you have to develop a communicative relationship. Everything cannot be you cannot be spoon-feeded with each and everything that I'm just barging you the facts and you are memorizing it. No. Okay. Any other doubt? Any confusion with respect to source? Anyone who is still, if anyone wants to do spectrum, most welcome. But the reason behind me saying that why spectrum over Bipin Chandra is only for one reason, that it gives you a very broader and comprehensive picture. It will help you in mains. 2 books more than sufficient. हाँ, Grover. या do you have time? Input पे output देखना है. Is there any question in mains which you are not able to answer without reading B.L. Grover? If you have the answer yes, that I can attempt a question without reading B.L. Grover, then why do you want to read it?
Some chapters are not mentioned, like before 1857. It starts from 1857.
Questions देखो ना. First see the questions and then judge a source. I agree that Bipin Chandra doesn't cover that thing, but old NCERT does cover it.
And constitutional development is better given.
See, it depends on the nature of question which the UPSC is asking. You just cannot imagine a thing that I have a book which is having good facts and giving a very lengthy chapter, and then if I do it, I'll be able to answer a question. It does not happen usually. Even if you read Ramchandra Guha, even if you read Bandyopadhyay book, Plassy to Partition, not everyone reads it, but still there are people who are getting selected without reading it. So it depends on your understanding. It depends on how you have understood history, how you have correlated with it on the basis of previous year paper, the questions which UPSC is asking. If you think that you cannot answer after reading Bipin Chandra, then try to read it once again. If the problem lies inside in terms of approach, then the book is not at fault, but your approach is. Okay? Any other doubt? Do we do polity now? Acha, so eagerness to do polity. Why?
No, but then again, you won't be covering the aspect in the
Post-independence is exclusive for mains. This session is for prelims, so that's why I restricted myself.
Oh, so we cannot have doubts from that, is it?
We can have after the session.
Thank you.
Polity. Another section which has lot many questions asked by UPSC, and if you are very clear with the concepts, there is no confusion, you get really high dividend. Number of questions are many from polity. 2012, 17 questions, 13, 17, 14, 18, 15, 11. And the nature of question is simplistic, but it is testing you on your accuracy. How accurate you are with respect to any statement given. They are not framing statements, again I am repeating myself, with too much information. They are framing statements by asking you the fundamental concept that whether DPSPs are justiciable or not. Do we have, like NHRC is a constitutional body or not? Zonal council is mentioned in the constitution or not? It requires your, again, clarity on the topic. We do see questions sometimes with respect to public administration. Like this time they asked a question on who is chairman of Civil Services Board, right? So you don't often read it from Lakshmikant. It's all, what I can say for such statements is that you have to keep your ears and eyes open. Why? Because you are aiming to become a civil servant, and that's what you have to do in administration. So anything which pertains to administration, governance, whether you are reading it from the newspaper, anything, you have to just learn it. That's what you will be doing, right? After clearing your interview, you will be administering things. So how can you just close your eyes with respect to any concept with respect in relation to governance or public administration? You just cannot. Okay? Prelim syllabus, constitution, political system, panchayati raj, rights issues, public policy, etc. Many students come to us, they have major queries with respect to the public policy questions, that how do we prepare? You all are also having this doubt. How many? Public policy questions. Lakshmikant में होते हैं वो? नहीं होते हैं. So what is the source for it? Internet. Internet तो फिर सबका ही source है. Newspapers. Yojana, yes. I will be seeing with respect to each and every part explicitly given in the syllabus and the questions on which UPSC has asked. Okay. Sources for the beginners, class 9th NCERT Democratic Politics Part 1. It's new. Then Democratic Politics Part 2, class 10th. Then Indian Constitution at Work, it's again a very important book, class 11th NCERT. And our most reliable Lakshmikant. Why NCERT books I'm suggesting you? They are very important, and you will be able to develop, the way I was saying in history, a relationship with polity, the developments in polity by reading NCERT books. Very communicative again. The boxes given in NCERT books, they provoke a thought. Have you ever, who all of you have read NCERT once? Okay, what was the most significant thing which you found out, which is not there in Lakshmikant?
It's in form of
Case studies.
It's in form of a dialogue strike.
Yes.
So we can relate more as if
Yes,
we're talking to
yes.
a person, more thought-provoking.
Those characters are there, no?
Yeah, the boy and girl.
हाँ. you should communicate. You should have a thought when you are seeing that box or a dialogue. If it's being inculcated in the students by the school authorities or whatever you want to call, then it's important because they are the syllabus is set up, the books are written for a purpose. Okay. And if UPSC is framing questions, they are just not ignoring NCRTs. They are just not ignoring NCRTs. Okay. Previous year questions. There are different types of questions which UPSC is asking with respect to polity section, fact-based, current affairs applied, fundamental applied. We'll be seeing the questions. Very easy, 2015 prelims question. To uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity and integrity of India is a provision made in the which of the following. Now the problem lies is that when you are studying polity, you are just not integrating the provisions given in preamble, DPSP, fundamental rights and fundamental duties. There is a question every year on such aspects. So you are just studying the provisions in isolation. And then you get confused ki whether it was in fundamental duties or whether it was in DPSP. Such confusions are happening, no, when you are seeing a question. So what you have to do is that if you know that every year there is a question from this section, be it fundamental rights, duties, DPSP, preamble, you consolidate your information. You are just not reading then Lakshmikant chapter wise, but you are comparing the provisions by making a table. Then only things would settle down in your mind and there would be less confusion. Because polity, the question is simple, but confusion is bound to happen. They do happen. So what you have to do is make a table of each and every provision and then relate. कि अच्छा थोड़ा थोड़ा इसमें भी है, but I don't have to confuse myself because the preamble is saying with respect to justice like this and DPSP is saying with justice like this. If you do that, trust me, the questions would not confuse you and you're marking the answers with great accuracy. ठीक है? Second question, Rajya Sabha. Just see the statements. Why UPSC has given all the statements in negative nature? No. Why have they given no or cannot? The first statement says that Rajya Sabha has no power either to reject or to amend the money bill. Second, Rajya Sabha cannot vote on demands for grants. The Rajya Sabha cannot discuss the annual financial statement. Again, the psyche behind developing these statements is to confuse you, and first two statements are right and the third statement is wrong. If you are going in a flow, no, and there is a pressure, you are bound to make this silly mistake कि हाँ third भी सही होगी, first two तो सही है. Just understand such things by having a look at previous year papers. It'll really help. They are playing with your psyche. Yeah, they just want to confuse you. The questions are very simple. It's not that you don't know it. Getting what I want to say? That questions are simple, but they are only playing with your psyche, your pressure moments at that point of time. Okay? 2014 prelims. Earlier they used to ask how many members, 30, 22, 25. What they have asked? Largest committee. Ab largest committee ho gaya, you are recalling ki how many members were there. The nature has changed. Earlier they used to give you figures, numbers. Now they have asked you which is the largest committee, which is making you think about the numbers. Ab numbers aate hai to confusion ho jayegi. Many of you would mark not estimates committee but pack shayad 22 hote hain. ठीक है? So they are just playing with your psyche. They are just making you nervous, uncomfortable. 2013 prelims, again a fact-based question, who all are members of it? NDC. The answer is B. 2 नहीं होता है, right? Fact-based question, Anyone who does this type of question also with logic? I can solve this question with logic also. Huh? Anyone? Planning Commission or Finance Commission, there is a relationship. Oh, sorry, NDC, right? So, what role would Finance Commission chairman would have in NDC? So again, a statement was just given to confuse you. Or options में just see, they will always give you 1, 2, 3, 4. कि हाँ हो ही सकता है ना, तो फिर हो जाता है वो गलत, सिली मिस्टेक हो जाती है. Okay. Questions based on role and functions, again very easy. They are also a subcategory of factual questions. If you're clear with the role and functions, you should not get confused. The functions of Cabinet Secretariat: first, preparation of the agenda for Cabinet meetings. Second, secretarial assistance to Cabinet committees. Third, allocation of financial resources to the ministries. By third statement, just have a look at it. Allocation of financial resources to the ministries. Cabinet Secretariat. Secretariat it is. Secretariat, what does it do? To coordinate things, to assist. How can it allocate financial resources? Come on. And again, UPSC has done what? Given a wrong statement at the bottom. That you're reading first two statements and you're thinking कि अरे हाँ बड़ा easy question है, 1, 2, 3 भी दे दिया है. Just to confuse you. Now, the right hand side question. All other powers except 4 of the governor, discretionary powers they have asked. Sometimes what happens, no? When you are reading a question, you are okay. You have paid heed to it. You have you had a look at it कि discretionary power पूछ रहा है. But when you come to statements and when they are 4 or wordy statements, what you tend to forget is that what they have asked in the question. So discretionary you will forget and you will mark the answer. Don't do that. Just be in sync. You have to be very calm. The questions are very easy. Easy why? Because the answer is in front of you. It's not like mains that you have to create an answer. The answer is in front of you. You just have to see which is the right answer. Right? Now questions based on Panchayati Raj. This time they ask, no? Fundamental objective. What is a fundamental objective? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay. 1 and 3. The answer seems 1 and 3 only. But then it's one of the dicey questions for which we have to wait for UPSC's official key. But by applying logic, it seems 1 and 3. Why? Why? Because see, what is Panchayati Raj doing? Decentralization. Then through 73rd Amendment Act, what have we done? We have given them the constitutional status. Why we have added one tier? Why we have added one tier? Not to ensure political accountability, but to local participation, people's participation. So 1 is absolutely correct. Third is democratic decentralization. Decentralization so we have done. The fundamental object is 1 and 3 necessarily. There should not be any confusion. Why 2 and 4 can be dicey and they can be eliminated? Why separately creating an extra tier for financial mobilization and political accountability? It can be the consequence or implication, but not the fundamental objective. See the language of the question. They want to ask you the fundamental objective. Okay? 2013, they asked a question on PISA Act. Just again, why I have included this question? Just don't ignore the not. Which one of the following is not identified as its object? इसमें भी ना lot of things happen. In and out हो जाता है. candidates का from one question. Because prelims no one can master, no one can score 200. तो एक question can pull you up and down. So please be very calm, very in sync, be present at in that situation. Don't get nervous. Don't do such mistakes. Prelims again on Panchayati Raj. Why I have included this question now? The 73rd Amendment Act provides for which of the following? Constitution of DPC, State Election Commissions to conduct all Panchayat elections, establishment of State Finance Commissions. What is the answer? Don't think too much, just give me. Huh? C, 1, 2 and 3. Who said 1, 2 and 3? 1 and 2. 2 and 3. Different answers. Just read the first option. District Planning Committee. And the question is on Panchayati Raj Institution's 73rd Amendment. Pehle I was telling you that they used to give last option, the incorrect option in the last. Now what they have done is, they are again confusing you. 73rd Constitution, हाँ ये तो है ही है, Article ZD में है ये, हाँ पंचायती राज में ही पढ़ा है. You read the articles together, no, of 73rd and 74th. You're bound to get confused. 2 and 3 is the answer. 1 is not. District Planning Committee. Open your eyes. District Planning Committee. ठीक है? Now rights-based question. Rights. Very important, no? Very important. You have to make people aware of their rights. You should know about the rights. This act, Traditional Forest Dwellers Act 2006, the question they asked was, who shall be the authority to initiate the process for determining the nature and extent of individual or community forest rights? D. But why? Because they have given them the right to decide. It's a right-based question. Who will be given the right? अब भाई district collector को तो right देंगे नहीं. Then why to create a special act for it? Makes no sense. State Forest Department again executive को देंगे मतलब? No. Will there be a separate act to give powers to specifically to bodies like that? तीनों ही they are related to executive or bureaucratic machinery. Apply some logic, connection. The only option apart from bureaucratic machinery or administrative machinery is Gram Sabha, which is a democratic thing, which is close to people. So even if you are not sure of the answer, what you have to do is that establish a linkage with the similarities given in the option. Odd one out वाला देखते हो ना, aptitude में होता है. You can do it in GS as well. Does it require a specific preparation? By common sense, you can do that, right? Consumer's right. 3 statements given. Why this question? I want to emphasize. Just read the second statement. When a consumer files a complaint in any consumer forum, no fee is required to be paid. No, none, only, always, all. These are the words which you should be afraid of. Any. These are the extreme words, absolute words, which UPSC plays in the statement, and then usually the statements are wrong. Usually. So you have to be very vigilant when these words come in the statements. No, none, never, only, all, any. तो बस अगर कोई ये पकड़ ले, if someone finds this as an incorrect statement, you get the answer right. क्योंकि first and 3 are almost like you are able to comprehend that they can be there. Any doubt? Public policy based questions. No specific preparation, but yes, you have to read your newspapers, you can refer Yojana, but the underlying notion is that when these questions are given by UPSC, again they are checking you on the principal function or objective of that particular scheme, and that's how they are playing the statements also with. First, Janani Suraksha Yojana. Janani Suraksha Yojana, right? First, to promote institutional deliveries. Second, to provide monetary assistance to the mother to meet the cost of delivery. Okay. Third, to provide for wage loss due to pregnancy and confinement. Confinement. Wage loss. Janani Suraksha. It's basically for first institutional delivery and to provide maternal health care. Third, just given as a statement to confuse you. Fundamental objective, principal notion, why the scheme came, only that was required. Okay? National Water Mission. Oh God, such a long question. How many statements are there? I have never read National Water Mission. Do I attempt it or not? Yes, you should. Why? Because these questions look very lengthy. It seems difficult. Maybe you have not studied it, but the statements which they are framing, if someone is applying common sense, one can eliminate. I'll give you two statements. Just read the fourth statement. The expenses incurred by farmers for digging bore wells and for installing motors and pump sets to draw groundwater will be completely reimbursed by the government. Completely. Completely reimbursed. Absolute word है ना? अगर 4 गया तो only 2 options are left. 1 and 2. Are you getting? Any one extreme statement, if you are able to figure it out, you can reach to a more closer answer. So why UPSC questions are very important? Because it tells you how to approach them. You just cannot get these things while reading. Yeah, everyone reads, but only few make it. Because the difference lies in approach and understanding. You are appearing for UPSC examination, you have to understand it, you have to look UPSC questions from the eyes of UPSC. Okay? Asha, NRHM. Extreme statement is this. How about fourth? Conducting the delivery of baby, will they go to homes and conduct it? And even if they are going at home, isn't it negating the Janani Suraksha Yojana intention of the government of India? Yes. Fourth तो हो ही नहीं सकता है. The answer is 1, 2 and 3. Okay? Making sense? Need not say it again that why it's important to see and analyze UPSC previous year papers. But then I'll show you how questions in the past have been directly lifted up and again given as a question. 2015 prelims. This question was there, no socio-economic democracy, provisions contained in these principles are not enforceable by any court. 2002 prelims, they gave the same option, social economic democracy. So you should know that the main intent of DPSP is to ensure social and economic democracy. Who ensures political democracy? Fundamental rights. Establish the linkage. It's clear now. Again, on the basis of 2002 prelims question, I'll show you another question. First, see the 1998 and 2014 prelims question. Exactly the same. then why, if this question was there in 2014 and whoever has appeared for this, if anyone has done this question wrong, no, you have yourself like darkened your future. Direct question. This time also they asked one direct question, no? Avanti wala. Why? Were they like they were having less number of questions to ask you? No. Simply no. They want to re-emphasize to the fact that you should know each and every question which has been asked by UPSC. When they themselves are saying that we are repeating questions, then why aren't you looking at previous year papers? You are running after books and books, running after shops and shops. अच्छा आज ये material आया, वो आया. No point. ठीक है? Fundamental applied questions. If parliamentary system has been asked by UPSC previously, they can and they have framed questions on that. So parliamentary system should be done. ठीक है? I'm moving fast. Forms of question on DPSP, what you have to look into such type of questions is that how the nature is changing. Same DPSP is asked in different forms. Purpose of DPSP, then they have given some provisions and then they are asking you on the Gandhian principles. Remember that 2002 wala question, Gandhian democracy. So Gandhian principles are an important element of DPSP. So they have asked a question on Gandhian principles. Again DPSP question, that which is the fundamental among the following for the governance of the country. So if UPSC has asked this, no, key fundamental DPSP hai, they can frame a statement that DPSP are fundamental for the governance of the country as a statement, the way they had done it for social and economic democracy. Okay? Economic justice. See the different forms of question with respect to DPSP, and when you are reading DPSP chapter, you have to analyze these things before. Then only you will be able to see it in a different light. Otherwise, you will just keep on reading and mugging up facts. And that's just not required. Because it will confuse you. You will be, there are more number of chances of you marking the incorrect option. Out of confusion. Purpose of DPSP again, this to repeat. Again DPSP, international peace and security. Earlier they used to ask you the article, but now they are asking a provision and in which of the following it is fitting. I told you to frame a table on all the provisions with respect to preamble, DPSP, fundamental right and fundamental duties, and then compare it and then learn it. Life बहुत simple हो जाएगी with UPSC. Current affairs derived question. Do you think that there was no question or UPSC don't ask question from the current affairs news? They do. How they do that, I'll just show you. 2015 prelims, joint sitting question. Huh? You all read Hindu? You've been following news? Joint sitting, ordinance route, all such things were happening. So how do you have to read newspaper and prepare for prelims? Whatever news is there, you have to know the concept. You have to go back to books that if joint session is being taken or if ordinance route is being taken by the government just for some reasons like numbers and all, then you have to know each and everything about it. It can be asked as a question. Actually, they are asking questions based on that. PISA Act. Now, students would be wondering why PISA Act in 2012. In the news from PIB 2011, PISA was there. In Hindu 2011, PISA was there. And the statements are lifted directly from these news items. They didn't create it. They just lifted from these two articles. So if anything which is new to you, you should dig into the facts. Just don't read it virtually. The concept also. Just poke yourself that do you know each and everything about adjournment motion? Just don't read it blindly. For the sake of reading it, don't read it. Remind yourself that do I know joint session? Do I know everything about adjournment motion? That's how you prepare your newspaper and polity. or for that matter anything. ठीक है? PAC 2013, 2G scam, coal scam, everything was in news. This question came on PAC. National Legal Services Authority. Come on, matlab, how many of you, if from that time zone, had this feeling, ये भी करना पड़ेगा? How UPSC has asked this question, it's not given in any of the book. But actually, when in 2013, the CJI was being appointed, he was the chairman of NALSA, National Legal Services Authority. Done. Matlab, what you have to see in the newspaper, CJI is an important, how do I say, an institution itself. Where he's from, what post had he was in, you should know about it. Any body which you don't know, they have asked a question on it. So what are they actually looking for in a civil servant that they should be aware? They are just not reading and taking things blindly. कि आपके कान भर रहा है कोई भी and you're just filling into it. You have to relate, you have to apply logic, you have to know it yourself that do you actually know about it or not. ठीक है? How to study polity? I've told you, but then just see like here. President. When you are consolidating after having multiple readings from Lakshmikant, how to make notes is this. This is the way. President, his role in terms of appointment and removal with respect to differently in constitutional and non-constitutional bodies. What role does he have in judiciary? What role does he have in parliament? When they are framing questions and they are giving questions, they are confusing you with respect to giving options as president, parliament, judiciary. So you should know where president is doing what, in which of the organ. And that's how you are consolidating your notes. Notes should be made like this. Suppose if president is removing a member or a chairman from SHRC, he's not appointing it. Who is appointing it? Governor. So this confusion would not occur if a question is asked on this thing. Because you have made a note on each and everything and you know that he only removes them and he's not appointing them. Confusion होगा ही नहीं ना? Judges को कौन appoint करता है? Who's having a say in the jurisdiction of judiciary? Jurisdiction कौन बढ़ाता है? All such things you can find when you are consolidating your information in one page. You have to link. Polity is not all about ratification, or that calls for modern Indian history as well. You have to compare, you have to develop linkages, and then you have to study. Okay? You can make such mind maps. Parliament and state legislature. When you're doing parliament, just after completing parliament, do state legislature. If you're doing union executive, after reading union executive, do state executive. And have a clear picture. Have a very clear picture, because the questions in polity are always in this relation that they are confusing you with respect to comparison. Okay? That's how you have to do. Any doubt now? Very difficult, na? Physics is so simple, but polity is difficult. Any doubt? No doubt? All doubts resolved? Sure that you will do like this? Trust me, it will help you. It will really help you. It will make your orientation towards handling any subject with ease and with accuracy. Right? Now we'll be having a session on geography, environment and biology by Gitika.